Today is the first Monday of the new year, the first Monday of January 2025, and welcome to the new year. Happy New Year. But I just have a few minutes to be on here, but I was like, should I come on now and share this or wait until later? But I figure no time better than the present. So listen, if you are entering the workforce for the first time, maybe you just graduated high school or college, or you've been a stay-at-home mom for the majority of your adult life and you now want to pivot into the workforce. If you are trying to re-enter the workforce because you have been that stay-at-home mom, or maybe caring for your parents, or maybe just traveling the world, you took several gap years. If you are trying to pivot within the workforce, you already are on your career path, but you may want to change it. You may want to go into a different industry, or you're just trying to figure out what your true position is, then this video is going to definitely be for you. Listen, don't do what you've done in the past, in 2024 and previously, and expect different results. That's insanity. You have to do things differently this year. And I've said this before, but I think I need to bring it home today for this new year. Stop trying to shoot your shot in every basket. It is not a brag. It does not show your stick-to-itness when you say that you've applied to hundreds of positions and haven't heard a word. There's a reason why applying to those 100 plus positions, why you have not heard anything. And that's because you are not taking the process of getting on the right career path seriously. It's a serious matter. Finding a job is a job, but you have to be very intentional with it. Know who you are as a professional and own it and stand on it. And if that means only applying to one position every week, so be it. Maybe there was only that one position that had your name on it. Stop being a serial applicant where you are just applying to apply. Everything sounds good, looks good, but is it for you? What do you know about yourself professionally? What are you bringing to the table? If you are already in the workforce, or just again re-entering it, and you've been used to one particular type of industry, don't just say that's the industry you want and you're trying to only look in that industry to do what you do. Trust and believe there are many industries that you can do what you do. So cast out your net and cast it out wide. Stop being so narrowly focused when it comes to industry. Now, when it comes to position and what you can do in those industry, absolutely keep that narrow. Keep it narrow and shallow. But when it comes to where you can do what you do, have it go wide and deep. So people are always asking, like, well, Coach Sherri, I just don't know. I've had some time off, and what does that look like on my resume? That looks like you need to have a functional resume where you will highlight the things that you've done in the past. And this works especially if you've been in the workforce for several decades and you don't want to age yourself by going back to the 1900s. And because you shouldn't have anything older than 10 years on your resume anyway. So having that functional resume, you can have a professional experience or a professional highlight section on your resume that highlights those key things that they are absolutely looking for a person to do, to have in that role. And describe some of the things that you've done. You don't have to put the dates, but quantify it as much as you can. If they're looking for someone with management skills, put down the things that you've done as a manager. What kind of skills do you have in regards to management? If they're looking for someone that's an administrator and you have extensive experience as being an administrator, you want to have in that highlighted section key things that only you have done, transferable skills that you have, experiences that you have in that area, and you're just doing an overview of it, giving them that highlight for it. And then you can go down into your experience. Listen, if you have been a stay-at-home mom and you're trying to pivot back into the workforce, if you're a stay-at-home mom right now, you need to be doing things, especially with your children's schools, the PTO, the PTA, have a voice there. Those are things you can put on your resume as well. Let me tell you, when my children were in elementary school especially, it was a public elementary school in our community, and that school, let me tell you, those women, those parents, I should say, they ran that PTO like a Fortune 500 company. When I went to the meetings, they were around a business table, a conference table, and everybody had a voice, but it was about the business. And they did not play. 100 parents volunteered in that school every single day. That school did not need anything when it came down to financials because we made sure they had it. And when I was a part of that PTO, I remember we would have a yearly silent auction as a fundraiser. And my thing that I brought to the table was event planning. And so I was always in charge of the themes and, making it feel like a whole different setup, a situation. So when the people, the community, the parents, the students came back in the evening, it was like walking into a wonderland. And I remember my two favorite themes were the first was a movie theme. And listen, I wasn't one of those crafty people, putting down paper, making paper mache stuff. No, I went to the what's it called? The party store, the ones that do the real big parties. I got the red carpet, the ropes. I had big things, cinema wheels, and just different things to make it feel like you were in a whole movie set. And I remember another year I did a Mardi Gras theme because the silent auction was always just before Mardi Gras. And we just so happened to be going to New Orleans that year. My husband was one of the coaches for an HBCU Classic game. And I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to New Orleans. Oh, I'm going to get Mardi Gras stuff from New Orleans. And so I went to the big Mardi Gras warehouses and got my items, my tablecloths, beads, candies, feathers, masks, all those things, and had them shipped back to Charlotte. And let me tell you, and I also had Zydeco music. It was one of the best. And we always raised no less than $20,000 for that one day for those silent auctions. Who wouldn't put that on their resume if that's what they were doing when they weren't traditionally working or even having your own business? If I talk about it, I talk about it. I can describe the methods I took, the action steps I took. And those are some things that you can talk about or talk upon even on an interview. When they ask, when have you done any type of collaborations? What were the outcomes? Well, that's a collaborative event right there. So don't shortchange yourself and minimize the things that you are currently doing, things that you have done in the past. Be very intentional. Instead of those 100 positions per week, focus on a good 3, a solid 3 that speaks to you. But don't be disrespectful to the hiring manager by sending them just your regular schmegular resume, the resume that, yes, you may have had a professional do, but you have not tweaked it at all to speak to that position. Because trust and believe, there is a process of elimination. Sometimes it's through machines where the algorithms are trying to find those key words that are aligned with that position. And if you're just using your regular resume, you may not be speaking exactly to that position. But even if you have that professionally done resume, you still need to go in and make sure you're capturing some of those things that they have, those major responsibilities that they put on those job descriptions is absolutely what they need you to know how to do. So if you've done it before, make sure you're lacing it in. Look at some of those key words. Even the title of the position, have that somewhere in your resume. I had a position and it was around workforce development. I had over 300 applicants apply. Only 22 of them even had even had something similar about workforce development on their resume. So looking at it, I'm like, next. You have to have a process of elimination, and you don't want to be part of that process of elimination. Again, there are machines that look for those things. And if you don't cut it, if you are not meeting the minimum criteria, they're going to next you and human eyes will never see you. But if human eyes do see you, if they don't have that type of system, the first thing they're going to do is scan it and look for words that are aligned with what they need. If they don't see it, they're going to next you. So in 2025, stop getting nexted and get the call that you are deserving of, so that you can go in and really sell who you are and your value to that organization, so that you can get that you're hired. All right. So listen, you definitely want to speak to that position. If not, it's disrespectful. That's what I call it. Like I said, I had 300 applicants for one position. Only 22 had the word. Only 8 of those 22 even knew really what it was, because I gave them a phone screen and could speak upon what it is that I needed them to do. And only one was left standing, and that's all I needed was one. But I had to go through all those 300. So if you think like, oh, well, I applied, I don't know what happened, they may have had more than 300 and had to go through. And if you weren't that one that was talking to them, then they had to next you. Even if someone refers you to apply to something, I have people that referred friends to apply to my one position, but I nexted them because when I read I didn't even look at the name. I don't care what the name is. I'm looking at the information on the resume and the application. And if it's not speaking to me, it's next. I remember one person contacted me and was like, my friend said she did apply. Did you see her application? And I was like, I didn't see it, because I literally do not look at the names. I just go into the content. And when I went back, I did find her friend, but her resume did not speak to what I needed. She may have been very capable to do it because she was highly referred. And my friend said, yeah, she would be an asset. I couldn't tell. So don't disrespect the people that are hiring by just giving them random stuff. Fill out the application fully. If there are supplemental questions, make sure you answer them to the best of your ability. Give clear examples on your resume. Again, you want to tweak it to speak to the position, just like you read the job description and it spoke to you. When the hiring manager receives your application and resume, it needs to speak to them. So it's a two-way street. This is a partnership in the beginning, in the making. So listen, 2025, do it different. Have a spreadsheet. Indicate the date, the position, the company that you had applied for it, and also put down any of the information, like if they sent you, we received your application, put that date down so you can track all the positions that you've applied for. It may not be a long laundry list. That's no brag. If it's 1 or 2 and you get that one, that's the brag, because you were intentional and you took your time. This is a professional experience, so be a professional in it. That's all I have for you. I hope you received the nugget. If you have questions or you want to continue the conversation, please be sure to leave me a comment. If you had anything in this video that resonated with you, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I appreciate all of the support. If you are new to the channel, I would love to have you as part of the team. This channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. It's been my pleasure. I am Coach Sherri.